Welcome back. The last instalment of Cosmic by Frank Hutzel Boys. Thanks for sticking with it. If you have done, hope you enjoyed it. Keep yourself safe, look after yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you soon. But here goes the last bit. This chapter, this is not a simulation. Well, I did it. I successfully redocked the command module with the Dandelion. We had a bit of Game of Orbiter 4 and I got an extra life for that. The children came back through the act, giggling and pushing each other. Samson too said, "Guess what? You were wrong." What? This is not a simulation. We are really in space. We've just had a water fight on the moon. He went on to explain that water fighting on the moon turns out to be quite complicated. You can squirt the water alright, but it flies in this spooky curved flight like a diagram following an arc towards the ground, and it doesn't ever find its target. In mid-flight it turns into tiny clouds and drifts along like ghosts for a while, disappearing altogether. He said it was because they were in direct, unmediated sunlight. The temperature couldn't have anything to do with it. Up to 130, the water just boiled. I thought he must have been weird standing there feeling quite comfortable, but no, if you took your suits off you'd boil to death. But they didn't. They smelled slightly fireworky. This was because some elements of the moon dust had trailed in and reacted with the oxygen inside the Dandelion. And they were like covered in dust, just covered. They looked like chimney sweeps. I found a little hoover for cleaning up crumbs and attached to the wall near the food cupboards, and I made a move with the suits. Otherwise everyone will know what you did. They'll be able to tell by looking at you. Max wanted to know why it was such a big secret. Surely it's something to be proud of, being the first child on the moon, he said. And Florence said, "They're going to find out anyway. Next time someone goes there." "Do you know what we did, Dad?" "No," said Samson too. "Don't tell him. It's a surprise." "Oh," said Max, "we almost forgot. A present. Moon rock." And he gave me a square grey stone from another world. What else did they do down there? Well, seeing as that I'm the dad, I'll tell you like a dad would. 1. How we got there. We had a great run out, we didn't see any traffic, just one meteor shower and that was it. 2. What the parking was like. For a start, the parking was completely free of charge, and there were an infinite number of parking spaces. As long as you looked out for the boulders and canyons, how come they can provide ample parking on the moon and not in Bootle? That's what I'd like to know. 3. What it was like in the old days. Well, they had some Apollo program. There seemed to be some bloke going to the moon every few weeks. I thought we were going there for our holidays when I grew up. But now look. 4. Something thoughtful which made you think. We walked on the moon, we made footprints somewhere else. No one else had ever made footprints. And unless someone comes and rub them out, those footprints will be there forever. 5. Something to do with last night's football. No football because there wasn't enough gravity, but we had a water fight instead. The winner was surface conditions. After we were back on board, we did one more orbit, 3/4 of the way round. We burned the Dandelion's boosters and then we're heading back to Earth. They all rushed to look at the moon, getting smaller and smaller. Florida asked me then, "What about you, Dad? Did you have a good time?" It was alright. It might look like a coincidence that Dad rang me just as the phones came on, but it wasn't. He'd been trying for days and days. He got through the moment they came on because he'd been trying all the time. That's what dads do. He had to look out for the children like Dad looked out for me and his dad had looked after him, right back through time. Dadliness was among the stars, a force like gravity, and I was part of it. But in the end, Florida's obsession with weight which saved us. According to my maths, said Samson too, we should re-entry now. You are joking, I said, we're miles away. When you do this re-entry on the simulator, the Earth feels like a giant wall next to you. If you looked out the window now, yes, it looked big, but you could still see the cove. You could tell we were, yet. What you say, my maths is wrong, which is simply illogical. What I am saying, it does look a bit far away at the moment, a bit high, and I don't really want to jump from here. Florida said, Samson too, when you did your maths, did you remember to add the weight of the Dandelion, or did you just do your calculations based on the command module? Samson too stared at her for a while, then he said, "Excuse me, please." And he started his maths again. So we were still in high orbit now. We're using the sails to glide down gently so we can get lower and lower and faster orbit. It's like the world's biggest giant helter-skelter with views of Greenland, the Pacific and northern Russia. "Can we just keep going nicely and gently till we get down?" said Assam. Sadly not. Everything we started to see was glowing envelope of the atmosphere. You just can't float through that. It's a firewall. We're back in the command module now. We've pressed the green button, all of us together, and this time I felt the jolt as we uncoupled the Dandelion. I could almost hear Keira Knightley's voice kicking in saying, "We realise you had a choice of carrier today, and we'd like to thank you for choosing," as she drifted right off into space. We know what the buttons to press to make our descent. We're just waiting for the right moment. The monitors are still out. Samson 2's running Orbiter 4 on the wrist station. We're all watching it on the wall. I'm pressing the real buttons a few seconds after he presses the right ones. I gave them a team talk. I said, reinflate your vehicle escape suit and stay calm. I know we can do this because we are cosmic. Then I jetted the bottom half of the module, the bit with the window and the door and the things that can't stand the pressure. So now we're flying blind. We've got no window. I can more or less feel the angle in my bones. If we hit it wrong, we bounce off into space. Now the gravity's really hurting. It must be increasing. We must be right. I'm looking at Dad St. Christopher. It's rocking from side to side like there's an earthquake. I can feel myself getting heavier and heavier like the boy in his story. I can barely move. The simulator's counting down, and now I can hear it saying, "Uh-oh, you're dead." It was very quiet. Everything was white and cold. I was lying there trying to find out what had happened. I could feel something hot. Breath. Stinking hot breath. And the smell of damp and the sound of breathing. I'd noticed all these things before, but what were they coming from? A wolf. A wolf. I sat up and he snarled at me. More hot, stinking breath. The door of the command module was open. There was snow outside and more wolves shoving each other, trying to get back on at us. We're back on Earth, but with tin food. Something went whizzing past me head and hit the wolf behind the eyes. It yelped and backed off. Florida lunged past me, lashing out at the wolf and pulling back the hatch shut. She yelled, "I've not been to the moon and back in an ice cream van. I'm not going to get eaten by a dog." The dog howls and scratched the hatch. I said, "They're not dogs, they're wolves." She passed out. St. Christopher was on pieces in the floor. So that's what she threw at the wolf. I remember thinking, Dad's going to go mad. He said he'd really looked after him. Mind you, I suppose now it had really looked after us. I sat with my back to the door, keeping it pushed shut. That's when I noticed my Drax phone wedged into the multifunctional display unit. I dashed over and grabbed it and threw myself against the door again. That's where I am now. No one's looking for us. I know this because Dr. Drax said she denied all knowledge. But now I've got the phone, it doesn't matter. I can call Dad. I can get someone to come and help us. I called Dad. The phone rang twice and then it beeped. A text. "You've got no credit." So now I'm sitting here just talking to the phone. No one's even listening. Even if someone knows we're out here, how would they find us? One little module the size of a smart car stuck in the frozen wastes of Siberia, which is bigger than Europe. The others are waking up. They're all bruised and bloody, but they're glad to be alive and they don't realise that this is only a temporary situation. Wait, I've got to stop. I've got to stop talking because my phone's ringing. It was Dad. "Liam, it's me. Thought you were coming home today." "Oh, well, Dad, I got a bit lost." "I know you're up in the Lake District, no, Liam. I know you're up to something. Just tell me where you are." "Well, I'm not really sure, Dad." "Okay, this is what you do. Find a pub." "A pub? No, you're too young. What else comes up on Drax World? Library, schools, anything like that? Find one, call me back. And I know where you are. I should be able to tell from the phone. But it's obviously gone wrong. He says you're in Waterloo, but you're not in Waterloo, are you?" Maybe I might be in a Waterloo. There's only one Waterloo, isn't there? No, there's hundreds, Dad. One in Sierra Leone, one in Brussels, one in Brazil. You're not going to tell me you're in Africa? "No, I don't think so, but I might be in Siberia, though." "Very funny. Leave it with me. I'll sort something out." He hung up. I looked at the others. "What happened? I thought we'd died." "We forgot about the parachutes again," said Samson 2. "But then Max pressed the button and saved us." Max said, "No, Florida pressed the button and saved us." Florida said, "No, Hassan pressed the button and saved us." Hassan said, "No, Samson 2 pressed the button and saved us." "Maybe you all did." Me Dad did sort everything out. It turned out I was wrong, of course, about Dr. Drax. Of course she was looking for us. She didn't want to keep our trip a secret, so she wasn't going to leave us in a loose spaceship lying around. Dad's SIM card was a clone of mine, remember? So his phone logged my phone's position. And when I saved the numbers, they saved on his card as well as mine. That's how he was able to call Dr. Drax, and he gave her a precise location. That's why she turned up in her plane a couple of hours later with blankets and hot food and a lot more forms to fill in. She was very nice to us. Then she said, "And Mr. Digby, I believe you have your phone. Hand it over, and cameras, diaries, anything that proves where you've been." Next chapter, special gravity. So where am I now? Well, I'm in the Newstand shopping centre, sitting by the water feature while Mum and Dad are switched on electricals, upgrading his sat-nav. I borrowed my dad's phone so I can play Snake on it while I'm waiting for him. And while I'm noodling around looking for a game, I noticed that the audio diary is nearly full. And that's when I realised, these phones are twins. When I made MySpace diary, it saved on his card, down here in Bootle, so I can listen to it how it all ends again. And I can tell you how it ends. The best thing about being on Earth is definitely just the right gravity. The way you don't float off the floor or feel like you've got a cannonball stuck to your head. People are hurrying past around each other with the bags and pushchairs and the shopping trolleys. They come up to each other and go away like they come back again. And it's like a great big dance. Everyone knows their moves. Then suddenly, everyone moves over towards the windows switched on electricals, as though some big comet with massive inherent gravity had gone by, and they were all drawn to it. I can only see the backs, but people are standing on tiptoes. Dads are putting the kids on the shoulders. I know what they're doing. They're watching the launch of a rocket called Infinite Possibility, which is going to send the first ever child astronaut, a 13-year-old girl called Shenzhen, into space. She's going to circumnavigate the moon. She's not going to be the first child in space according to telly. She's the first person to leave Earth since 1972. Everybody wants to see her. Her face on the front of all the papers, t-shirts, lunchboxes, mouse mats, anything you like. One person has just left the crowd and he's heading over to me. It's me dad. He's walking to me like there's some special gravity pulling him towards me. And maybe there is. Everyone's got their own special gravity. Unless you get far away, really far away, but sometimes. But it always brings you back in the end. Because here's the thing. Gravity is variable. Sometimes you float like a feather. Sometimes you're too heavy to move. Sometimes one boy can weigh more than the whole universe. But the universe goes on forever. But that don't make you small. Everyone is massive. Everyone is King Kong. Dad says, aren't you going to watch it? Maybe later. I'm all right now. Everyone in the world remembers where they were when they learnt about Shenzhen and the lunar surface. I was standing in our kitchen. I was about to go to school. I'd just taken my end of term report from under the little square grey stone that we used as a paperweight. Mum was reaching up to give me a kiss. Do you know, she said, I think you've shrunk. And she pushed me back against the See How I Grow chart and measured me. And it was true. I was half an inch shorter than when I started Waterloo High. Why doesn't that surprise me? Said Dad. That'd be typical Liam, wouldn't it? Start shrinking when he gets older. To send his child at 6 foot tall with a beard and his adult 5 foot nothing with a baby face. The traffic update had just begun on the radio. Dad turned it up so he could hear properly. When suddenly it stopped and the newsreader came on with this amazing report and went live to the rocket. And Mum turned on the telly. And I knew I wasn't going to school. No one was going anywhere that day. Because Shenzhen had found something on the moon. And really, said the announcer, this find of hers changes everything. We've got pictures. Yes, there it is. There is no doubt about it. A man-made object. We know no Apollo mission went to that part of the moon, and it seems unlikely that a secret Russian or Chinese mission would ever leave a thing like this. This is extraordinary, inexplicable. This changes our view of everything. It was a load of rocks. Squarey grey stone like the ones on top of our kitchen cabinet. And the stones were arranged to spell out some words. It couldn't be a coincidence because it was just so clear. Florida rang me up to make sure I was watching. Remember the surprise, she said. I completely forgotten about it. But now I saw it. Spelled out in the lunar surface, 2 words. Hello, Dad. I was grinning all over my face. I whispered, hello, into the phone. I was assuming she'd written it for me. Now come to think about it. She was saying hello to the other dad, the one who'd left. My dad looked across at me. He looked puzzled, like he knew he'd had something to do with me. I said, hello, Dad. And he looked even more confused. When he hears this story, maybe he'll think I got it to write it for him. And maybe he'll be right. Maybe it was for both of us and all the other dads too. For all the dads on Earth. For all the dads not on Earth. And for their dads outwards in space and backwards in time. And all the way back to the dad of the universe. And looking out into space, he sends a greeting from Earth to the universe. Hello, Dad. And that's Cosmic. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Look after yourselves. Keep yourself safe. And hope we'll see each other soon. Magic. Thanks.